you have these two categories of human. And the reason I had to define it this way is that native digitals are literally the first group of human beings that is 100% integrated with technology, with machines. We're not just adapting to technology. I think both of you mentioned before we got into this, like you kind of figured out technology as it came, right? Social media, right? And I know some native analogs who are very proficient with technology. But when you have a native digital, what I mean is our tech world, our digital worlds are literally our primary experience in life, which means we spend more time in our digital worlds than we do in the analog world. That has some very interesting implications for businesses because
Mm,
if you're in the contracting world, what are you mostly doing? You're doing analog work, right? You're
Right.
physically at houses, physically at commercial buildings. You're physically doing work. Well, now you have this whole generation whose primary life experience is digital first, meaning we can't wait to get back to those digital worlds where we're living our best lives, whether it's in video games or Snapchat or now the metaverse. Like, we are living in those worlds. So when we come to the analog world, it's actually as uncomfortable an experience as a native analog, say a boomer or a Gen Xer, coming into a digital world. That's
Mm.
how different the experience is. So like right now, what you and I are doing here on this stream,
mhm.
this to me is equally as robust, equally as engaging as if I was sitting physically in person with you at a table drinking coffee with you. That, like, to me,
Okay.
this is my
So
world.
what you're saying right now is I love what you're saying because our business, I didn't even tell you this before, but our business is remote. So we operate remotely. And one of the things that we have meetings like this every week. And when we do, it's very people ask like how do you keep and maintain culture whenever your business isn't like you're not touching each other each day and physically seeing each other every day. And it's like this is very normal for all of us that work together, and we are all millennials. But it's weird for me to hear that question sometimes because and a lot of times it is from people who have had, you know, brick and mortar businesses for 20 years, and they're like, I can't not have an office where everybody comes and meets every single morning. And so um what you're saying makes complete sense, that it's just it fits naturally, because a lot of times I struggle with explaining the answer to that, because a lot of times people are like, they'll ask me that question. I'm like, I don't know. It just works. Like the people that are here, we all get along just fine. And, you know, we all like, we're more comfortable meeting on Zoom every morning than we would be coming together to meet almost. And for forever, I thought that maybe I just hired a bunch of introverts that didn't want to go out anywhere. And so I don't know if I didn't know if that's the case or not, but something like I was watching a TikTok this morning actually, and it was hilarious because this guy, he was filling out his registry in his checkbook, and his girlfriend or something was like, "What is that? What are you doing? Like, what?"
I was gonna say, what is that? I haven't done one of those in like
Oh, I
10
haven't
years.
either, and the thing about it is it was like he was explaining, he was like, Me growing up, like, this is what I've done, and I just can't break that habit because he is naturally a native analog." And, so it makes perfect sense to me what you're explaining here.
I do want to elaborate on that because this is, again, so crucial. And it doesn't only apply to the employee side, this is also the customer side. So, to give you some data around this, we are now at a point where by 2025, a projected 27% of every employee is going to be Gen Z in any given company. So if you think about that, and some companies probably like yours that are run by millennials, that percentage is going to be way, way higher. So when you think about it, if you have an entire staff, let's say a quarter to a third of your staff is natively digital, and you have a customer base that is natively analog,
Ooh,
you're gonna
yeah.
you're gonna get some conflict. Similarly, if you have employees who are natively digital and other employees who are natively analog, you see this happening in the school system, in the political system. You have this happens everywhere. You have native analogs designing curriculum systems processes for native digitals, and then they wonder why the native digitals are so checked out.
Mhm.
And to me, it's like, duh. Like, you guys don't understand that, for example, within education, and this would apply to companies who have training and development as part of their culture as well. You have companies and education systems that don't realize that a native digital can learn more in a 30-second TikTok video than they can sitting through a 4-hour session on something.
Mhm.
And that conflict happens all the time.